Let's keep working on our project and let's improve this code. This piece of code that we wrote in our previous lesson could be extracted into a reader, and then we could create also a mapper in order to map DTOs into another DTO, for example, an antelope transfer into the response transfer, and also a response builder so that we can manage also the fact that we could have some errors, for example, an entity not found or any other error that might arise. So first of all, let's create the reader so that we delegate all of this piece of code to the reader. We can start by creating a reader interface, and we're going to create it inside the Glue AntelopesBackendApi. Let's just right click, new class, and we're going to call this class Antelope Reader Interface, and then PHP Storm is going to transform it into an interface, and then we're going to place this class inside the namespace processor, and then inside processor in the folder reader. And we're going to declare a method here, the same name, getAntelopeCollection, and we're going to return a glue response transfers, glue response transfer. And we're gonna receive the glue request. Let's implement this interface, and the class is gonna be called Antelope Reader inside the reader. And we also need to have access to the facade so we can inject that facade into the constructor. So let's create the constructor, and we're gonna be receiving here, and we can declare it as private read-only Antelope facade interface, and then we can move all the code that we had here in the controller inside that reader. So we're going to receive the glue request, and we're going to return a glue response. So we can just take all of this logic and move it here to the reader inside the getAntelopeCollection. And here, instead of calling just the get factory, we just call this facade, and the rest of the code would work. So make sure that all of the DTOs are imported here. Verify that the use clauses are included, and then we return the response transfer. But we need to have an instance. We need to create an instance of this Antelope reader. So the place to create the instance, of course, is the factory. So let's go to the factory, and let's create a new method, and we're gonna call it create Antelope Reader, and we're gonna be returning an Antelope Reader interface. So let's return new Antelope Reader, and we have to pass the facade here. So we call this get Antelope facade. Perfect. Now let's go back to the controller, and here we just call this factory, this get factory, create Antelope Reader, and then we call get Antelope Collection. And you can see that the code is cleaner this way, and it should work. So let's give it a try. Let's open our Antelope HTTP file, and you can see that it works. You can see here the response with the ID, type antelopes, the attributes like before, but we extracted all of the logic of reading antelopes from the controller and placed it inside the Antelope Reader. Next step is to improve this piece of code and extract this logic into the mapper and into the response builder so that we're able to respond even with errors with an error builder, with a response builder.